Hey everyone, I was going to do this video outside originally, but I think it's about to rain, and we live right near the seaplane base and the airport in Anchorage, so it can get pretty noisy with air traffic. So I'm inside for today, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about ostomies and emptying your ostomy when you're outside and adventuring, and how do you dispose of your poop and empty your ostomy bag. I've gone through quite a few systems in the past 6 years or so, some that have worked well and some that I think can be improved upon, and I'm sure I'll have a lot more to learn as I go through this. I've also found some of these systems have worked better in the summer versus the winter, or depending on what activity I'm doing. So I'm going to start a little bit from the beginning. When I first got my ostomy and started back to day trips and overnights, I just kind of continued with what I had done before having an ostomy, and that was digging a cat hole to go poop in. And so this time, rather than pooping into the cat hole, I would be emptying my ostomy into the cat hole. So for that, I brought along like a little shovel like this one, but having an ostomy, you have to have more cat holes and you have to dig more and empty more, and so it kind of became a pain. So I've gone away from this system a little bit, unless I'm on a longer trip where I don't want to be carrying as much out of the backcountry. So again, shovel, that can be pretty easy, especially if you're going to be base camping or going on a long trip. From here, I progressed more to using these wag bag systems where you have the outer bag and an inner bag that you can empty your ostomy right into. Other people use these as well on wilderness trips, especially if you're in an area where you have to pack out your stool. So this works well because you can just empty the contents of your ostomy into this inner bag, and this one has some deodorizing and absorbing crystals in it. And then I'll typically just tie the bag off with an overhand knot. That way I can easily get into it again, and I will empty multiple times into the same bag so that I'm not wasting bags and adding to the load that I'm carrying. And then this bag will just go into the outer bag and seal that off. And then I'll just attach this, usually like on the top of my pack or kind of to the outside of my pack, depending on what pack I'm using. The one thing I did find with these is they can start to smell a little bit. So I also started putting them into these odor-proof bags. These bags are really meant to keep bears and other critters from smelling your food, but I think they work perfectly for your poop too, because you just stick that in there and then you seal it off and there's not as much odor. And then I will take this whole thing and put this on the outside of my pack. So that's worked pretty well. This is usually my go-to for a lot of backpacking trips or trips where I want to have a little bit lighter weight setup. I have used this on a 14-day trip, but I also alternated between this and the cat holes, just depending on the day or what we were doing. So those have been my main two systems. The other system I recently started trying was one that Alex from Tales from the Bag had recommended. So he posted about going snowboarding this winter and using a Nalgene bottle with little bags and then just emptying his ostomy into that. I had talked to him a little bit, and he said that the opening for the Nalgene was a little narrow and could make it hard to empty or get the bag in there. So I started looking for alternative options, and I found this container on Amazon. This is a clear container. I just covered it in duct tape to make it a little bit more discreet. But if you look here, again, it's got that wider opening, so it's a little bit easier to empty into. And then what I have in here is just one of the gray bags that comes with my ostomy supplies, and then I put some kitty litter in here just to absorb and deodorize a little bit. And then again, I'll just either empty into the bag or you can fold it over the top. like that, empty straight into the container, and then tie it up and put a lid on it. I also added a little handle, and I'll either clip this to the outside of a pack, especially if I'm going uphill skiing or if I'm just backpacking. I'll probably put it inside my pack if I'm going to be going downhill. And then I will also put this inside the odor-proof bag on occasion, because again, this one can smell a little bit, and I don't know, I just want it to be a little bit tidier, so I'll put it in here, and then I can end up sealing it and shoving this whole thing in my pack. So that's worked pretty well this past winter on some trips I went on. Actually, the most use I've gotten out of this was just going on a car road trip and using this in the back of the car when there wasn't really a great place to stop and go to the bathroom. So this one's come in pretty handy. The final thing I've tried, which I think again might work best in the winter, just again because of the odor factor, is I've used 2-piece bags, and then if I don't want to end up emptying the bag, or I'm in a situation where I don't want to go out into the woods and empty a bag, like if, let's say, there's a bear outside and I need to just be able to do this quickly and not spend a lot of time outside, then I will wear a 2-piece bag, take the bag off, and then I ordered these Osto Solutions caps, and they can connect right to the bag and then kind of clip on there and seal off this bag so it's its own closed container catch system. And then I'll end up throwing this like in a garbage bag or something else that I'm carrying. This tends to create a lot more waste because then I have to carry a lot more extra bags and these caps. So again, depending on weight or where I'm headed, I may or may not use this system. It's just one that I tried a couple of times. So overall, I think, again, what's worked best is for long trips, just digging your traditional cat hole so that you're not having to carry out and pack out all the bags and waste and everything. That'll be a lot lighter. And then, again, these like wag bag type systems are pretty light, and you can fit multiple ostomy bags, especially if you're changing your ostomy bags while you're out on a trip. You can throw those in there and then just dispose of the whole thing when you're home. And then again, for like skiing or activities where you don't want to end up smushing your bag or squishing your bag or worrying as much about odor, using more of a container like this that's kind of its own enclosed system could be pretty handy. I would love to find one of these that doesn't smell as much, so I don't have to add the bag as well, because I'm always trying to find lighter weight, simpler systems. So hopefully this helps a little bit, just seeing some of the containers and ideas that I've had and used and gotten from other people. I'll also be adding some information in a blog post, a little bit more written out about each of these systems so you can kind of see them in use. But yeah, hopefully this helps a little bit.